We have with us Mr. Bipin Pradeep Kumar, founder, Gaia, and they are focusing a lot on smart cities and IoT. Let us listen from Mr. Bipin. What are the things that they are doing on smart cities and IoT?
Sumit Chaudhary and me founded Gaia in 2015. We started Gaia with the initial thought of rolling out large-scale solutions, and smart cities was the obvious choice because there is no space as cities for rolling out the number of services that we wanted to. It didn't work out very well initially, so we branched into different areas. Smart cities solutions have always been in the background, and we went on to bag the PMCs for Agra and two other cities. Agra was executed extremely well. We are the PMCs for Agra, Program Management Consultants. On the digital side, of course, not on the infrastructure side, on the digital side. So we do two things. One is the consulting, and the other is the product. And as much as we love our consulting work, and it gives us a lot of thought process and guides us in our thought process, product is where we want to be. The product that we have is something called Smart Feedback. And Smart Feedback, we have been extending it to several verticals, including retail, transportation and logistics, pharma and dairy. In fact, what we've seen is not only is it beneficial to the city or the industry that it is in, or the city per se, but it eventually helps in attaining several of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So yes, our next phase of growth is to make the smart feedback as widely accepted as we can.
You said that you are expanding to Europe. So either you are taking your project consultancy or your product to Europe?
Product. We are taking the products overseas. In fact, we have a potential partner that we would like to work with in one part of Europe. We have signed agreements with distributors in Spain and in Netherlands. London, in fact, we won the London Mayor's Emerging India Emerging 20 program, and we have logistics in place in London as well. Europe and to some extent even Australia are places where we are seeing our next phase of growth.
Would you talk about what product or what solutions are you planning to take from India to overseas market?
So what we have seen is if we can marry IoT or extend IoT with the emerging discipline of edge computing with machine learning, I wouldn't say artificial intelligence, with machine learning, the scope of what we can offer is extraordinary. And so that's what we're doing. In fact, we won Microsoft Research's best project on machine learning at the edge. So as outcomes of that, we are extending the smart feedback capabilities with machine learning and trying to see what it is that we can do to extend smart feedback in newer areas. So that's what we're trying to grow our product space into.
What has been the learning from Agra, where you were the project management consultant for smart cities?
Onto the digital side, in fact, it has been a very good experience for us. Agra has been a very good experience. We completed creation of the RFP. We went on to RFP for the MSI, the Master System Integrator. The MSI was initially ILNFS, but because of their unfortunate circumstances, Bharat Electronics is now the MSI. And the whole process with the administration was very proactive, progressive. They were very supportive in all the things that city needs to do. I think they're one of the few cities that hopefully will see rapid deployment of the services and making Agra smart. So for us, Agra has been truly a blessing in many ways.
How do you look at the IoT market in India, and do you see its acceptance in top-end enterprise, mid-end enterprise, or small-end enterprise to begin with?
So, I would say the initial hype that IoT had or has continues to remain a hype, but that's not to say a lot of companies are not experimenting with it. I think we need to move from that small experiments or small pilots to larger scale, but to achieve that, the IoT providers themselves Number one, the IT providers themselves have to get their act right in getting good quality devices and solutions in place. Manufacturing in India is, as much as everybody talks about it, is not really the best. So we have to overcome some of those issues. On the regulatory side, there is a lot of confusion about the role an M2M service provider or an IoT service provider plays. Who is that? How that is articulated? We need support from the government to clear a lot of that. We need more spectrum because the kind of spectrum that is available is really not ideal for rolling out really good IoT solutions. We have a deployment in the Airports Authority of India, and we're facing so many issues because of lack of connectivity. So clearing up spectrum specifically for IoT, from a regulatory perspective, I think that is very necessary.
What we have heard from the mobile operators is everybody is rolling out NB-IoT in a big way in 2019, say Vodafone Idea or Reliance Jio. So what do you see the challenges they will face if they plan to do a big rollout in 2019 for IoT?
So I won't use this forum to comment on what challenges they will face, but as solution providers, we and other solution providers will face Herculean tasks. Number one, we need to operate our services today until then, so which means there are no chipsets available in the NB IoT space, or even if there aren't enough to get a commercial solution out. So which means when they roll out new solutions, we have to change our existing solutions into the new NB IoT chipsets, which means tremendous cost, tremendous amount of time, effort, testing. The whole ecosystem has to be geared up towards it. The value chain will be disrupted. So I would say I take with trepidation the fact that NB IoT is coming out in 2019. But to that effect, Vodafone globally has stated that no matter what happens, they're not going to shut off their 2G networks until like 2025, just because they have a lot of IoT and M2M solutions running on that. So I think that we will have a time where both will coexist, existing 2G, 3G solutions, maybe even 4G, and then, of course, the NB-IoT based. It'll coexist for a long time.
So you want to say that most of the IoT solutions will be based on Wi-Fi to start with, and later on migrate to NB-IoT or other technologies to move forward?
The problem with Wi-Fi, unfortunately, is power consumption. Okay. It consumes a lot of power. So, where we have solutions that are battery-driven, Wi-Fi is expensive from a power. So Wi-Fi may not be the best suited for a lot of solutions. Where you have power, yes. I would still say 2G, 3G is where we, and there is the whole LP WAN thing that has been coming or rearing its head for the last couple of years. That may also make stronger play in the private space, not in the public space, but in the private space.
So in the home segment, if we segregate into two, home segment and enterprise segment, what do you feel would be the ideal technology for these two?
Where there's Wi-Fi, in the home segment, Wi-Fi, clearly. In the industrial space, where there is Wi-Fi, yes, but Wi-Fi requires, in large industries, it requires repeaters or boosters at really close locations. We'll have to work out the financial cost of all of that. So in both of them, Wi-Fi holds promise, but 2G, 3G, really.
And one last question, do you see IoT deployment in agriculture sector? Because that will help in increasing farmer yield, that will help in increasing farmer income simultaneously.
Yes, there is a lot of work happening in the smart agriculture space. We ourselves have done pilots in the smart agriculture space. But this will initially be done in the larger farm space, I guess, in the large holding, among large holders. In the smaller, where we really will see benefit is the small farmers adopt it. But for the solutions to really have that kind of robustness and value in the smart agriculture space, I think still takes a little more time. I mean, the what is that? It's called the National Soil Card. Just to digitize that, if you try to take some of the secondary soil nutrients, now the cost of the sensors is enormous. It's not viable for a small farmer to use any of that. The primary soil card and the primary soil nutrients and the secondary soil nutrients, very expensive. So we'll have to look at larger players and then hope the academic domain will bring out solutions that can make it viable for the larger play to succeed.
So thanks for talking to DG Analysis.
Thank you.
So much.